So, what I wanted to talk about today was the next chapter, which is the first real step in the whole process, which is to stop. Okay. So, this is my Kindle here. You can see my Kindle. Um, Let me see here. There we go. So, that's the kind of the whole process of step one, which is to stop. Now, this is the part of the book that nobody's going to like, right? So this is the part that everyone's going to be like, no, 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 and kind of Michael kind of talks about this as he gets into it, and how people kind of resist this part of productivity. He kind of talks about the history of productivity, what productivity is, and when you okay, so think about it this way: when you stop and really think about it, productivity is kind of a dehumanization. It's kind of turning the concept of productivity. What it's really doing is turning humans into robots, and it was really kind of invented. The whole concept was kind of brought to bear on factory workers. That's really where the whole thing comes from. The whole thing comes from, you have a factory, you've got one guy, and he's able to produce 10 widgets. Well, let's find little efficiencies here and there so that we can get that one guy able to produce 11 widgets. And then that way, that's more output. So then if you have 100 guys and now they're able to produce one more widget apiece, then you've increased their productivity. But that doesn't really work in the modern economy, in the modern society. And so the stop section, and actually he uses a great analogy here with I Love Lucy. Everybody's familiar with the scene with the cakes that kind of come off and they keep going and keep going. Of course, they lose. That's everybody's kind of vision of productivity. Is how do you keep up with the cakes? How do you keep up with the cakes? But it doesn't really work in the modern time. And so the stop section here that it goes into a really deep, kind of complicated system. It's a full system that explains kind of everything that you need to do to find productivity. He defines productivity. He says productivity should free you to pursue what is most important to you. So productivity becomes more about what's important and less about getting more done. And we just kind of measure everything and getting more done, and getting more done is not necessarily what you're looking for. It's kind of a quality over quantity approach to things. So you want to get everything done properly, right? You want to get the most important stuff done. So really, the stop section, this section of the book, and I really really do encourage you to go out and read this book because it's a great book, is to build a vision. So that's what this is really talking about. This whole section, the stop section when it comes to productivity, is about building a vision. And he talks about different types of freedoms. You have freedom to focus, which is to work on the really complicated stuff. Freedom to be present, which is to be in the moment, to be able to exist in the moment. How often do you do something or go to something, you're involved in a project, and when it's over with you don't even remember, or the time just you're working on something may not be all that important, and you realize all this time has gone by and you just kind of wasted all this time. So how often does that happen? Talking about freedom to be spontaneous, freedom to do nothing. So there's another right around along these lines. There's another guy that I listened to, Darren Hardy. He had this really funny kind of a story about, he had a business partner of his that had this big complicated idea of all the stuff that he was going to do personally to improve the business and everything. And he had this big business plan and everything. And he asked the guy, after the guy laid out the whole business plan, said, okay, well, did you factor in the cost for your lawyer during the divorce? And the guy's like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you're going to spend 90 hours a week on that. You're not going to spend any time with your wife. So you're definitely going to get a divorce. And did you factor in all of the therapy for your kids? Because they're not even going to know you. So, they're going to be miserable and they're going to need lots of therapy. So as long as you factored all that into your business plan, then that'll work out really well, which I always thought was really funny. Because you've got to have the freedom to do all those things. You have to be able to fit everything that's important in, not just the little things. And that's what this section of the book, the stop section, that's what it's really all about. It's about creating vision, getting things done. There's a really cool he says here, we should design our lives and then tailor our work to meet our lifestyle objectives. So that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about designing your life, designing and making your life work, and then fitting work into your life. Being and that's kind of his version of productivity, which I think is I just think that's really the right way to go with it. So then the rest of this chapter is all about creating a vision, and it's all about formulating a vision through evaluation and through let's see here, understanding your skills, understanding what you're good at. It says aptitude. Aptitude signal alone is this aptitude signals skill alone, while proficiency signals skill plus contribution. And he talks about this section of if people aren't appreciating what you're doing, if you're not actually providing things that people can see that are tangible, that are getting noticed, that are getting appreciated, then they're probably not as valuable as you think that they are. You know, some kind of tough love stuff. You know, you might think it's really valuable, but if other people aren't noticing it, maybe it's not really that valuable. Maybe you can prune that. He talks about the 4 zones of productivity, which is the distraction zone, the desire zone, the drudgery zone, and the disinterest zone. And these are really pretty interesting. So the distraction zone are things that you're very passionate about, that you really love to do, but you're very low in proficiency. So those are distractions. So you care about it, but you're not good at it. So nobody's paying you to do them. In other words, and nobody really wants you to do them. There's the desire zone, which is where your passion is high and your proficiency is high, and that's what people are going to pay you for. That's what people are going to ask you to do. That's what people are going to be interested in. There's the drudgery zone. Here, I'll show you this little graphic here. This might help out here. So there's that graphic there. There you go. And there's the drudgery zone. Drudgery zone is that's where your passion is low and your proficiency is low. So that's like the worst of both. And then there's the disinterest zone, which is where your proficiency is high, but your passion is low. And now that's most jobs, so you have to kind of understand that. Most of your work that you get paid for is low passion but high proficiency, because people pay you to be proficient. They don't necessarily pay you to love what you do. And he goes through each one of these, how to dismantle these zones, how to develop these zones, what to do, how to cast these into your vision. He also talks about a 5th zone, which is a development zone. So the development zone is you getting better at certain things. So maybe your passion's high, you're not good at it, but you're getting better at it, or maybe you're starting off inefficient, but you're getting more efficient. So that's really what this whole section is about. This whole section about stopping is building this vision and really thinking about your limiting beliefs, what you're providing, what you think you're doing, what's most important to you, what's vital to you, what really matters, and all that kind of stuff. So that is that's kind of that stop section. So we're coming up on 10 minutes here. It's a great book. Really encourage you to check it out, guys. It's very cool. Again, it's free to focus, and then tomorrow we'll get into the next section here. And the next section is, let me see here. Let me skip ahead here just a little bit. But the next section will delve into the steps of cutting. So after you've developed a vision, after you kind of understand what you're trying to accomplish, then the next step is to cut, which is to prune away all the stuff that you don't need. And it's in this pruning process, after you've made your vision, in this pruning process, that you really become efficient and really become good at what you're doing. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I appreciate it. Please do like and share, and I will see you guys tomorrow.